One of the things I've learned over the years, and I'm always the questioner and curious about people's experiences. When I question people, adults, about their parents, they typically will say, "Oh, I don't know. I didn't know that. I didn't know that." I spent a lot of time around my grandmother, my father, and I frequently ask my aunts and uncles about their mom. And there's plenty they didn't know. They weren't particularly curious. They weren't engaged. Basic things, like she was trained as a surgical nurse, didn't know it. Just some pretty basic things. And what it shows is a lack of interest. Just a fundamental lack of interest in your parent as a human being. Pretty common. And then they're dead, and you don't have answers to a lot of questions because you just weren't particularly interested. And people who aren't particularly interested in someone, the other thing I've noticed is they're pretty engaged in this practice of criticizing someone. My father had a common comment. He would say it all the time, all the time. It is so easy to criticize your fellow man. It is so easy. Don't think you're smart or brilliant or you see something exceptionally elusive. Now, criticizing others, that's like laughable. It's so easy to find fault. Now, layer on top of it, um, an adult thinks about all the things you don't see. So I'm Catholic. I frequently hear in Protestant circles how people were, some nun did this or that or the other. And when I think back on my childhood, I was kind of at the bottom of that mushroom cloud of baby boomers. There were so many children. It was unreal. The adults were so outnumbered by children. And, what I saw is, oh, yeah, at the bottom of the pecking order were nuns having to take care of just an ocean of children, completely thankless, and parents entitled. And oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. I can't imagine being in a room with 36 or 40 or 60 kids and expect to take care of them and make sure they learned. In those days, we just didn't have entertainment. So school was the entertainment. There weren't fancy TVs and video things to like distract yourself endlessly, so you had no interest in getting an education and no interest in learning and no interest in your own imagination. So I digress. We don't begin to understand what's going on in someone else's life. We don't have the framework. We don't we can't even fathom it. We don't have the understanding unless they share it with us in a way that we can comprehend. And even then, it's quite difficult. August 4th. I can certainly learn from criticism. I want to remain open to hearing what others have to say, but neither my popularity nor my ability to please those I live and work with are legitimate measures of my worth as an individual. Anon helps me to recognize that I have value simply because I breathe the breath of humanity. As I gain self-esteem, I find it easier to evaluate my behavior more realistically. The support I get in Al-Anon helps me find the courage to learn about myself. As I come to feel at home with myself and my values, my dislikes and my likes, my dreams and choices, I am increasingly able to risk other people's disapproval. I am equally able to honor others when they choose to be themselves. Whether or not I like what I see. Today's reminder, the help of a loving sponsor and the support of my fellow Al-Anon members, I am learning to find my place in this world, a place where I can live with dignity and self-respect. And here's the quote, I exist as I am, that is enough. If no other in the world be aware, I sit content. And if each and all be aware, I sit content. That's why I like to say I work for God and God alone. I'm not interested in pleasing anybody else. And in fact, I could never, I could never live up to the expectations. I can't even live up to the expectations of myself. So yeah, I work for God and God alone. And that's enough. I pray my words do not offend in any way. I'm an advocate for considering the struggles of others, not judging, but just considering that we're all in our own way doing our best at a given moment in time. Blessings on your day.